Oh, Friday 24. Welcome. There we have it. Adam, motherfucking Uhan.
Dude, Adam's got a little
Hey, Adam.
tank shack in there. What's going on? He's got a whole
Spank
little
Shack.
setup.
I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, I like the camo.
His AV room. He must be covering something up. He can't hear us, but
That reminds me of like a spank
That's
shack
where-
with a deed or something.
that's
it's
where the
like
dead
your roommate
hookers are.
Can't tell what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah, he's paving them into the wall. He's plastering.
He's got the
between
dead hookers
walls.
back there. He move them, so he just hung up some camo.
Jeez, that's horrible.
You're making fun of my camo background. Healy's sitting in a prison cell of some kind. Are you at LUD right now?
No,
Where
no,
are you?
No, it's my patio. I'm just sitting with my back against the wall, so there's no reflection.
He has stucco. No, we weren't making fun.
Here, Brandon, you want to see? This is ode to you. This is ode to you. This is my
brown dead hooker.
The mini you can't really see it. That's the mini CrossFit gym.
Oh, you got a little workout room.
Oh, I've had it for a while now, but I have to put
Nice.
this up here because I haven't enclosed it all the way, so this stops the sound reflection. Because this is actually for all of you
Your
wannabe
studio.
voice. It is my sound studio. I got my first paying voice gig just the other day. So,
Very nice.
from
Is it
Harley
voiceover
Davidson.
or something?
Yeah, I did a voiceover. In fact,
Wow, good for you, dude. That's pretty cool.
thanks, Russ. Russ,
is
by the
cool.
way, how are you, man? It has been
Fucking good, dude. It's been way too long. Yeah,
far too long.
I'm doing well.
I gotta ditch the wine. That was for dinner. This is for Tyler tonight, drinking Traverse City bourbon, or from Traverse City Whiskey Company.
Good stuff.
Neat.
I'm
And,
drinking
uh,
some brown ale from Saugatuck, Michigan.
Cool.
Tuck
Everybody's
Brewing.
got something from Michigan.
I was gonna drink a Wisconsin.
Is that the rye, Healy? Tell me that's the rye. Oh, hands down, the best pound
What
for
is that?
pound, price to price.
Angel's Envy.
Rye, pound for pound.
Can you hold that up again? Russ?
ABC, like
Oh, yeah.
I think it's on sale for $80, so not bad
$80.
at all.
What do you mean not
really
bad?
big
It's
bargain.
the best.
Oh man, it's so
it's
good.
the best bottle of rye under $100.
Okay.
Hands down.
So has everybody got a
Hands down.
drink? Everybody got a drink in their hand?
Of course we do.
Before we kick off and start talking a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of worthless stuff.
Congratulations to you. Is
No,
that okay?
even before that,
Okay.
let's raise our glass tonight for we lost one of our own. Wisconsin. It's not confirmed. It's not official. It will be by the time this podcast is out. I was texting with you guys earlier. We had a crash up here in Wisconsin.
That's all it is.
One of the guard guys. Yeah. And
Wow.
so for those of you who are catching this, remember, this can be a dangerous job. We forget about it most times. So rest in peace, tailwinds to one of our fellow aviators out there. So
Attaboy.
raise a glass.
Good call,
Nickel on
Adam.
the grass, as they say.
Mm.
Oh man.
I'm assuming you don't want to say his name or anything like that.
I don't have any of the
We may not
details.
know it.
None of
Okay.
it's been released. I don't know him personally, but I have a lot of
Oh, okay.
friends who do know him.
He's an F-16 guy?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was the details will come out, and for those of you who are in that community, well wishes. You guys have had a rough year. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, really rough year. Between them and 38s, like
Yeah.
the worst year.
yeah, I
It's
know.
crazy
So,
what's going on.
Yeah.
so yeah, I didn't want to bring it down, but I thought, I want to start off with a toast before we got into the
Yep,
bullshit.
glad you did.
Respect.
call.
Respect. Absolutely. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We do forget that this can be a dangerous job.
It's definitely got its. It's funny. Shannon brought it up to me. Shannon is the better half. She brought it up to me. She goes, I still every time you go fly, I still kind of worry a little bit. And I go, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the nature of the beast. Like you forget about it, but then something like this happens, kind of brings it home for a minute. I mean, yeah, totally different stuff that they're doing that what the four of us do, but
Yeah, it's not to say that the plane that at least we're all still flying, Tyler's unqualified, but it's not.
wait, Brandon's
Oh,
qualified.
no, Brad's not qualified. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not even,
So yeah, just me and you, Adam.
I'm not
But-
even in the conversation.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just not getting any younger. I get nervous every time I go fly.
I was
together.
going to
I'm
say,
not
I'd
gonna
much
lie.
rather fly those than you got stuff that you guys are flying that are 60, 70 years old or however long old they are.
Literally 60 years old.
Come on.
I mean,
We flew yesterday, and I had there was like a fuel smell coming from the back. The booms kind of mentioned it, and I said, "They're two really experienced guys," and I was like, "What do you think it is?" And they go, "I don't know. If we pass out, just wake us up."
You are in
okay.
a tanker. It could be anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and well, the thing is they think the actual mat, the where they lay on in the back on the pad in the pod was
Mhm.
had gotten soaked in some oil and gas.
From what?
No shit. Who knows, dude? Like, I mean, that's literally who knows? Who knows? It's just
So Adam, did you see, like, I think this was last year, they finally came out with something that was saying, oh, by the way, keeping the drogue in the airplane is like really bad because it's just
yes.
vaping out gas fumes.
I
And we've
did
been
hear.
doing that for 40 years.
Yeah, I
Like,
did. Yep, I did see
See
Yeah,
my
that.
so, like,
surprise face.
Yeah, was that
all of us are
was
gonna
that an
have cancer.
FCIF or was that like was that an
Yeah.
FCIF or was that I can't remember if it was like a reg change or if it was FCIF and I saw that and I go, well, I've only flown around with that half the time in my career.
Couple thousand hours, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
just quietly take all the drones out of the back of the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
Well,
funny how that happens.
last to know, kind of a thing.
Unbelievable.
Hey, real quick, I want to talk about my sunglasses so I can take them off. So
No,
I'm rocking,
No.
Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
rocking the stash, rocking the shit. I ordered a shirt from the real TACC, guests of the Opportunity Hour a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and thought I got it delivered today. Thought tonight.
I like it rocking the Freddie Mercury
Not
vibe.
me, because this silhouette has hair.
Yeah, I was
But,
gonna say.
And it's thin.
These guys are throwing out some
When talented.
pretty good
Yeah.
designs. Check them out.
Having to the boom. mic.
RealTACC.com or find them on Instagram.
All right, we'll put it in the show notes. Stop being a damn commercial. Are they paying you?
Yep.
Stop.
No, they're not, but I love them and I'm supporting them.
Jesus.
Tyler, don't you know, man? You don't say shit about anybody unless they're paying you, dude.
Did they even give you the shirt for free at least?
No, I bought the shirt.
All right. Well, can you get me a
Move.
free one?
Yeah, yeah. Where's ours?
They're working on some Sky Pirates for us.
Where's
now
ours?
we're talking.
Yeah, they're from McDill.
And
The real TACC guys are? Oh, I didn't
Yep.
know
that is cool. Where are they? What
that.
what
That
unit?
could be
What are they
great.
doing? They're flyers or no?
Yeah, they're active duty tanker
I
pilots.
didn't catch the show. It's not like I listened to it.
They never mind. Continue on with your chlorophyll.
And another thing, I guess we should say congratulations to Adam Uhan for having a kid.
Thank
Another
you.
one.
Thank you very much. Number
Cheers to
two.
that.
Congratulations.
I do have a
Congratulations.
cigar
To,
in there somewhere.
There are now 3 children in that household.
3 whole children, 1 boy and 2 girls. Is it?
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of people would say 3 girls.
Oh,
Depends on what you're saying.
3 girls, definitely.
Tyler is referring to me being the eldest child, and then my
Yeah. Are
eldest
you the
daughter
eldest?
being the middle, and then my youngest daughter being the youngest.
You have 2
This is
girls.
what passes for comedy here on Furlough Fridays.
Yes. All right.
Wow.
Can you hute Mealy, or how do you do that? How do we make him quiet over there? Smoke your cigar and shut the fuck up.
We can't. We can definitely.
No,
He's
so I'm
got
gonna.
so much to give.
I'm letting it. He does. Look at that mouth. I'm letting it loose a little bit on this one. No,
I've
I
been doing it
got.
for an hour already,
yeah,
so
I-
it's gonna get
We
loose.
did.
Fine.
We did some Christmas light action with the fam before we did. I got jumped on here, but two girls born about that's her month birthday, so she's a month old today. So
Wow,
Wow.
man.
everybody's doing
So
great.
are you sleeping at all?
Yeah, well, see, here's the trick. When your wife breastfeeds, that's the old myth that you don't get any sleep. I get a lot more sleep than
Great.
she does. But number 2, we're just getting more sleep overall than we did the first time. So for
Gotta
anybody
figure it out a
who
little bit.
needs
Yeah.
anybody else who doesn't have that figured out, you'd be surprised. Number 2 is a lot. You think you know more than you did the first time.
Well,
around.
you know why? You just don't give a shit anymore. Like, you
Yeah, well-
stop caring about the things that are like, okay, we don't need to worry about this. 'cause we already
Exactly.
Had one.
You know, the funniest part, Brandon, you say this is, and it kind of goes along with a Furlough Friday podcast,
Yeah.
COVID-19, all the bullshit going on in the world. Is I called one of my buddies and I was like, yeah, dude, the house is a total mess and this and that and blah 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 blah. And he goes, "Are you serious?" He goes, "How old's your daughter now?" And I go, 2 weeks old. He goes, "She healthy?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "And you give a shit if the house is a little messy?"
Exactly.
And I go, "You're
Have you seen Tyler's house?
Yeah. I go, fair point, dude. And he said, you can worry about that that in a year or two. And he goes, and then you can start getting.
And by then you'll have help by the kids.
Yes, exactly. Well, the eldest is starting to do that stuff. So, like, for those of you out there in my boat who are a little younger than I am, because I'm an old fogey type. For those of you out there younger in this boat, just exercise a little bit more patience than you were born with, and you'll be surprised at how far that gets you.
You know, that's a good point. Can you exercise patience like that on that level? You gotta develop along the way. I was talking to somebody that was they're in the process of adopting, and his idea was to adopt an older kid because he thinks the younger kids, like, he can't handle it. And I was telling him,
Sure.
I think it might be opposite. Now, I'm just speculating because I got my own kids and I grew up with them. I don't know how it is to adopt, but along the way you gain patience. And I know these two knuckleheads over here don't have kids, but we'll make this point.
No,
Adam can
they care for themselves. So.
And they are themselves children. And you look how kind of patience we've had to have with them.
Yeah.
So I think
continue with your
I was just thinking you develop it along the way. It's not something that you just have. You think you have with a 7-year-old that you wouldn't have with a 3-year-old or a 3-month-old. It's got to build on itself.
All right. So with your development question, Socratic method, I'll ask a question back to you. When do you think the first real stage for a male pilot is first fully developed as a human being, specifically a pilot, specifically a male?
So we're
that
not
first
talking about kids
age
anymore.
We're talking about when you're like grown ass men. So you said you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. These guys have none. When
you want
at 20, yeah, at 22 years old, are you all grown up and ready to handle the world? Or is it 32, or is it 42, or is it 102? What is it? What's that first real stage? I know it's different for everybody, but let's just take the big bell curve there.
Well, by and large, because of who we are, I think the 4 of us are probably went into that kind of the same. They look for the same type of mentality, right? So when you're 22, they give you a plane, $1 million jet, and say, go fly it with this other guy, or by yourself for some of the fighter dudes. So I mean, there's different stages. I think going to that stage, yeah, you're ready for that because you piss in vinegar. You're telling yourself you're ready for that. Not that you have an experience. You're just full of bravado and willing to, and you think you're bulletproof and you're willing to do anything. You're willing to jump off anything.
It's interesting that you bring that up. Now I'm thinking about it because when you're at that age, I'm thinking like pilot training, first assignment kind of time. You know when you go to work and when you're getting ready for work and prepping and studying and all that stuff, you take it like really seriously. And you're like, I'm an adult. This is my job. This is my career. I care about this. And you're responsible. When you get done flying and you go out to the bars and you are completely acting like every other 23-year-old irresponsible college recent graduate, maybe even worse, probably way worse.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's like a split right there. It's like work is over. I'm going to be completely irresponsible.
Yeah,
it's a miracle that we survived as long as we did.
That's so true.
No.
That's accurate. And then there's another stage in life where we stop doing that too. So I guess we mature a little bit, just a little bit, not enough to really gain the respect of the people that we hang around.
Me and Tyler are putting our heads down over here. Yeah.
I have to plan drinking now. Like my recovery time just takes too long. Like I have to put thought into whether or not I'm going to drink anymore.
Yeah, we found that out a couple days ago, didn't we, T?
Tyler can't do 2 days in a row. It's the 63rd motto now, actually.
Dude, yeah, that was a motto way back when he first showed up from pilot training. Do you know about his pilot training graduation, Russ?
No, but I want to hear about it.
All right, so let's talk about Tyler's pilot training graduation. You mind if we go into this a little bit, Tyler? Just a little bit. We'll just dabble in it.
Get into it.
Full
frontal.
Adam D. Uhan was the IP of record with one Brian Kraft, who no longer aviates.
We all know him.
We took a jet to Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi, and we went to go see Tyler. Was it assignment night or was it graduation?
No, it was graduation.
It was graduation.
It was like I don't know what it is.
It was
The
we were gonna
wave.
get
It was assignment night.
assignment night. Yep, because it was
Yep.
your assignment night
Track,
and it was
yeah.
Michelle's track select.
Mhm.
So we went and Brian and I get there. And now I had never met Tyler Allerding. I'd heard about him, but just through the way things worked at Selfridge, when we were going down to McDill, I had left, or he had left to go to pilot training or OTS or whatever, and we just never crossed paths.
Sure.
So, and I get down, we fly in, and Michelle comes up first up the ladder, and she's like, "Hey guys," all excited. She's just getting ready to go to T1s or whatever.
Incidentally, we just had Michelle on the show last week.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, and then Tyler comes up next, and he comes up the grate. I had never met this guy, and in true 63rd fashion, Brandon will be very proud of this. First thing I say to him is, "Hey, fatso." And the reason I said that is because his graduation had been delayed 3 weeks because he just failed his PT test.
Are you?
Oh, that's awesome.
I do remember that.
So
And
here's
tell him-
here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Tell us the deal, Tyler.
It was the first PT test that the Air Force started doing waist measurements,
Yes, that.
and I had
That's
no
why-
idea. I had no idea that it was even like. And then all of a sudden, I'm too fucking fat, and it's been a struggle ever since.
The struggle is real.
So the
But you
other
know
thing
what?
is,
Guess what? In a few short months, you'll be retiring.
yes.
So you
Oh,
made it.
and get this. So now
just dropped
the
the
Air
waist
Force is no longer doing waist measurements for PT tests
So you win.
His
because
career,
of COVID.
it's a bookend career. It's a bookend career, Brandon. It measured the fatness of Tyler Allerding.
That's what it was for.
He's retiring, and they said, "Nah, fuck this."
He was the litmus test. He
It was the
was.
litmus test. It was the litmus-
He was. So it was an experiment.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yeah,
you
they
were
like,
not the
"Look,
control.
they like looked through every PT test in Tyler's career, and they were like, "Look, obviously this guy's been cheating the system. Just get rid of it."
Look,
Obviously, he's figured a way around it.
There's no way. These guys are.
I mean,
fucking
I
with you.
figured out like how to do. I mean,
Bring the shoulders up.
starving myself for
Yep.
3 days prior,
Yep.
not eating or drinking the day before, wrapping myself in Saran wrap. Like
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
it was a never end every
Now-
6
Time out.
fucking
is-
months.
Dude, this is all stuff I saw Brandon do when we were in Australia, and that was
For all
just
my
for
wrestling
fun.
buddies out there, you know
Hey.
what's up.
By the way, I do want to bring up a social media phenomena that just occurred. Nate Diaz, I believe, posted that picture of us when we first get to Australia.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember-
And
And
it wasn't with all the shirts.
You,
was it?
Russ, commented on it. No, it's the one where you look like Lando Calrissian. You've got
Oh,
the
yeah.
must. You got bigger, but it was
But
no,
it
it
was
was
bushy.
more-
It was a
it
bush.
was the big
Yeah,
thick
yeah, yeah, yeah.
bush.
Yeah.
And
I was
then
like
it's
2 or 3 years out from joining the unit. I was still hearing
Yep.
stories about a TDY when I joined the unit.
it was me,
Epic.
you, Nate, and Jansen. I think were in that picture.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jansen still talks about it. Like every drill weekend. he's
Yeah,
like,
and I talked about it on a drive to
Australia.
Miami.
Yeah,
the other day.
Matt,
Yeah.
it's Matt
We
Jansen.
did.
Matt Jansen's old Matt the loser.
Dude, Matt Jansen's Facebook these past couple weeks have been great.
Yeah, they have been.
Hashtag old Matt.
Yeah, they've been pretty.
Really?
You need to get him on
Yeah,
the
they're pretty
podcast.
funny. Yeah, why isn't Jansen on the podcast?
Yeah, he's not a pilot.
He is one
No,
of my
but
favorite
but
human beings. Like,
you
I
got to
love that
remember,
fucking dude.
Brandon. It's not that he wasn't wanting to be a pilot. He just wasn't good enough to get the job because he
This is
actually
true.
tried
He-
to get the job
He
Yes,
got fucked.
He got fucked
every
hard.
which
Several
way.
times.
Every single
Yeah.
time you could get fucked, he got
He
fucked.
got fucked hard.
You know what's
Um,
even? You know the greatest part about that is that he and the other guy, who we're not going to name because it's humiliating, were going up for this slot. The other guy
He
gets
just
it
finished Intel school.
and fails out. That's the slot that could have went to the guy that could have went through.
I just had a drink with him on Sunday night. He just finished
Irony.
Intel school. Yeah.
Irony.
Well, the irony
does Janny
is
feel about
another
that?
unnamed in our squadron that became a pilot just copied and pasted his Jansen's or Rob's package,
yeah.
and just skated into a pilot slot.
Hey, but all right.
Wow.
Wouldn't you do the exact same thing? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Duh.
Dude. Come on.
Well, why is
Come on,
that
yeah.
cheating? I don't understand. He's
Yeah,
got the
exactly,
same credentials,
yeah.
I'm assuming.
They're just mad at him because
Well, I think there's
pulled
just
it
I
off.
think there's animosity.
How many
amongst
OPRs
a
have you
couple-
actually written?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're trying to make me do my OPR, and I retire in 3 months. I'm like,
Tyler,
Good luck.
Tyler,
I'm
send
like,
to
leave
me.
it blank.
Tyler, send it to me.
Well, dude, can we do it? Can we do like a round robin? You do a
Yes,
box,
let's
I'll do
do-
a box. Healy will
I
do
got
a box.
I got a better idea than that. Let's farm it out to
Just Callahan.
Pro Network and say,
Oh.
please submit one bullet for Tyler Allerding's
Oh,
OPR.
that'd be
And then you
fantastic.
have to select whatever you get. You got to select them, put them on there. Doesn't matter what they say.
No.
Just can't have a curse word because then it'll get automatically rejected.
It'll get flagged, yeah.
You got, so it's got to be random shit that was posted by people in the Bro Network.
That would be
The first person you got to talk to is Jeff. He got me promoted. And he managed to put inside jokes in every single part of it, going vertically, horizontally, diagonally. I mean, he's like a big
that's-
crossword geek.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole different level. It's
He's
a whole
genius.
different level.
That
Oh
guy,
my
I'm
god,
telling you,
he's
he's
an
on a
evil
level.
genius.
He
He's
might
like-
be
he's
one
like
of the
Dr.
smartest
Evil.
people I know.
He really
He's Dr.
is.
Evil, dude. Yeah, he's the king of
How does
trolling
it-
too.
Oh, without question. We talk about it on the show
Yeah.
every time he's on. It's like, so who have you trolled lately? And he'll have an example like, oh, did you see the one? Blah, blah, blah. We're like, how do you get away with it? You know, I don't. He gets kicked off. What's the worst that could happen? I lose a friend or two. I know the feeling.
He trolled my own post the other day, like really hard, like talk shit about my mom, and I'm like, you can't
Saw
respond.
that.
You can't show weakness. You just
You
just
absolutely
let it sit there. Just let it sit there. Pretend it never happened.
You can't even delete it because he screenshot it and then he'll post
yeah.
it to your
So-
page.
So here, I actually, I brought this up in the home front and talked about, sometimes there's relatives of yours who go a little bit cuckoo on the social accounts. And
No, not lately.
I no, I know, right? Like, why would
What's an
they?
election or something?
Yeah, I told this to my family. I said, if everybody in the world was experienced in the flying squadron arts, there would be no such thing as the word triggered would have never ever came up ever.
It would be associated with a gun. Yeah.
False.
Yeah.
People get triggered in the flying squadron now.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, they
Not
don't. I don't believe you.
word.
I don't believe you.
He's right. They do.
If ever it happens, I want you to tape it, put it on National Geographic for us to study. That doesn't
No,
happen.
We have to be careful.
Well,
Are
you
you
get
serious?
caught off guard by the triggered effects. Like it's not like you're prepared.
Really?
Man, when you used to get
yeah.
when you get triggered in a flying squadron, normally it meant like, uh-oh, here comes the cavalry, and everybody would swarm. It happened to me when
Like
Matt
bees.
Jansen called me Matt Jansen called me train wreck, and I lost it on him. And Matt Sayers jumped in.
Oh, everybody.
Diaz was
yeah.
there laughing. You were standing there. It was everybody enjoyed it, and I
Yeah.
just sat there and realized that I had just lost. I'd lost the battle, left the room, realized
to this
that
day, what is your call sign?
T-Dubs train wreck.
Train wreck.
Tyler, what's the first thing I said to you today when you mentioned, am I really the smelly guy? I was like, did I find a weak spot? Did I find a little weak spot in there?
Uh-oh.
It's like, no,
brutal.
because I lost my smell from COVID, which you're the only guy I know. That sucks, dude. I do
You
feel
still
bad for
haven't
you on
gotten
that.
your smell back?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm
Yeah,
like, if you're talking shit, I'm good. But if you're dropping hints, I need to know.
True. Like help a brother out. Like, I need to know
Yeah,
what's going on.
exactly. Oh my god, that's so funny.
That sucks, Tyler.
Just never show weakness. That's the point.
Yeah, but I think that's the other thing is it's kind of like your own. It's your to an extent, it's your little clan where you'll talk shit to everybody in there. Externally, for the most part, you're gonna protect them. Like somebody else tries to say something, you're gonna go, nah. You don't have that right and authority.
Of
You don't
course,
fly with this person. You don't deploy with this person. You haven't spent time on the road. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to back off.
And
I
that's
think-
the beauty of being in that kind of,
Exactly.
family.
Exactly.
And so you're saying, what you're telling me is that the squadron isn't that way anymore. So we can't, though.
Mm,
And what was the
Yeah, it
motto
is, yeah.
up in Detroit? What was this? We hate ourselves, but we hate you more. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So
Well,
we can talk about ourselves, but don't you dare.
Well, I remember people would call it like the mistake by the lake.
Yeah, yeah.
And, and they it was all based on one person.
Yeah.
There was one dude and he ran the show, and that was the guy. And nobody liked him in the entire Air Force Reserves. And we all just got lumped in with, hey, this is they send all the rejects and problem children and the Island of Misfit Toys. It was the Mistake by the Lake. And I got up there and I'm like,
was his name Frank Amadeo?
Yeah,
no,
Frank Amadeo. No.
Yeah, no, this guy wasn't that bad. I mean, but
he was taller though.
Yeah, and he had very big, strong hands too.
Weird hands.
Weird. Well, he was a big baseball player.
That could be it.
Or whatever. But with that said, I heard that and I get up there and I'm like, oh my God, this place is gonna suck. And I was like, dude, this place is amazing. Like I loved Selfridge. I love that place.
It was a great place to fly, man.
It was everything about it was so much fun, and I had no idea until I left it.
Until you left
it because I was having a good time in the squadron. I was having a good time out of the squadron, and I was starting to realize it towards the end. It was like the first time talking about development. It was the first time at like 29, 30 years old, I realized while I was in the moment how much I was enjoying the moment I was in.
Yeah.
And then I went down to Tampa, and I remember, I'll never forget this. Brandon and I were driving to lunch one day, and we were coming back, and I said, hey man, how are things? We've been down here for I think we're down there for almost a year now. Yeah. And he goes, dude, there's a lot of stuff about going home and getting to a place like back to Florida or whatever. And he said, a lot of it looks really good on paper. Yeah. And he said, but there's some stuff that you just like, there was problems that you'd left in the past that were gone forever. And you reinvited them back into your life without ever knowing it. And then when you got there, you're like, because he was going home. He was going home. I was going to a new place, and basically I was on TDY for 3.5 years, and
basically.
And then when I came back up here, it was kind of similar. But I did it as I think a little older, a little more mature, and I realized that like, no, I needed to be here. I wanted to be here. And there was certain things with our unit that, I mean, I could go into that, but that's not podcastable.
The military changed too. The military's changed too. Just in the last 10 years has changed so much. Social media has changed all that. You can't get away with the stuff we used to get away with. You just can't. I mean, yeah.
We had fun, man. We had fun.
Yeah, I mean, even, Tyler's saying that people get triggered in the squadron. It's still pretty lenient, but I mean, it's not the way it used to be. You have to just make sure, like this is what I do. And then I'll talk shit to somebody. You got to look around, see who's
PC
around.
360.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's just, we're in a different world. Everybody's recording everything. Everyone wants to snitch on everybody.
What you just defined is the fact that we just became the old guys.
Dude, I looked around. I looked for the gray hairs. It's like, when you look in the room and you can't find the asshole, you're the asshole. And I've never found the asshole, so I know who that is all the time. But now I go into the room in the squadron. I'm like, hey, where's all the gray hairs? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I've been in IP for like 11 years or something. And I'm like 12 going on 12. And I'm going, I'm the old guy. Like I'm the old dude. And people are looking at me like, I remember when you first come to AC IP and people are looking up to you. And the first time you're like, oh my gosh, they're looking at me like that. That changed to when you were looked at as the old guy. That's the change that is like, oh, my career's done. Like I'm on my way out. There's no more. Like somebody said, are you doing Air War College? I said, what's that? How do you spell it?
I had the same conversation recently. And Adam, this will depress the shit out of you because these guys know, because I talked about last time I was on here, but I'm deploying.
To what?
My last deployment ever.
Not
to Curacao, not to Guam, not to any place great. Someplace awful. It starts with a Q, and I'm gonna be.
Hey, you're getting good shape.
SRO. I'm gonna be the goddamn SRO. That's how old I am.
Well,
and like people keep talking about like, hey, you're the SRO. Do this. I'm like, don't give me any responsibility. I'm not gonna do anything.
I'm gonna delegate it. So
anything to do, it's not gonna happen.
Here's the thing. You know how do you get out of doing that? You delegate it to the lowest ranking person there that just got to the base, and they'll never ask you to do that shit again.
This is my last one. I'm gonna make sure it's my last
one. So that was. We've had a lot of changes in the guard, and I'm not going, and I probably won't have to go before I retire. And I thought about volunteering to help out some of the other guys, and then we had all these cuts, and then COVID hit and all this other stuff, and I was like, you know, if you need me to go, I'll do it. I don't want to, but whatever. I haven't deployed in like 3-4 years. I'm like, whatever, you know, I'll go. And
That's kind of where I'm at.
but the thing is there's people who need work now. It's back to
That's
kind
why
of it's back to the bum days, sort of.
Yeah.
So guys are like,
I thought I would be safe, but most of the guys in our unit who need the work are young, so they're all co's, and they need IPs. They need IPs to go with these new co's, you know. So
they need people who know how to fly the airplane, Russ. That's not you. They need actual like KC-135 pilots, like not guys who go, I think it's gray and it's got some engines on it. Yeah, whatever.
Well, what's funny is that the co-pilot I'm going with, he's like, we're gonna get lots of hours. I'm gonna get my hours built up. I'm like, the first day I'm walking in the schedule and say, we're not flying. Like, don't put me on the schedule. I'm gonna get in shape. I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna, you know, work on some other projects I got going on.
What'd you tell him?
If
Like,
you
yeah,
go
you're
to
gonna get a lot of hours.
Yeah,
if
you get a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fly with somebody else.
You can fly some 06 IP who's looking to get his tax free every month.
Tyler, I'm
me,
sorry.
buddy.
Are we bothering you? I mean, you look busy over there. Oh,
He's
Multitasking.
facilitating.
you can't multitask. There's no such thing. Task prioritization. There's no such thing as multitasking.
I'm
Jesus. All right,
touching
what
on
are you,
putting this
Six Sigma.
this is
What the
number
fuck
2
is
right
that?
now.
Hey, man, you can make some money off of that.
Yeah, that's what I.
Six
hear.
Sigma's no joke. Yeah.
The old,
It's
I
still a
guess.
thing.
Yeah, it's still a thing. Not really, but
If you want an MBA or something like that, yeah. If you're climbing a corporate ladder, it's probably a good idea. But
all right.
Hey,
So
before my brain shuts off and I forget this thought that I had in my head,
don't. Do it.
when we were first talking about significant others, and Tyler, you can just check out here. Maybe this applies to Bella, but how did you guys?
Is there peanut
Because
butter?
I handled this, I think, a lot differently than other people have. My wife didn't know a lot about aviation when we first started dating. We've been together about 10 years now, off and on, and she never really understood the whole concept of like military aviation versus regular aviation, and like really like how dangerous some of the stuff we were doing and whatnot is. So I just kept her, I wouldn't say in the dark, just didn't advertise it.
That's
It's
smart.
like, yeah, I'm going on deployment, you know,
Yeah.
it's a bad vacation, yada yada yada. She's looking at me through the window actually right now. But
She heard her name. You didn't even say her name.
she knows now.
Damn.
no,
She's
no.
good.
I mean, but I just never kept that kind of stuff out in the open in the beginning because it was easier to explain like down the line.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, you know, this airplane's really old and it crashed a few
Don't
years
even
ago.
tell them that. What are you doing? Come
Yeah.
on.
No,
You know, here's
I
a
mean,
story.
but at the time, like when I'm on the road, I mean, I
Yeah.
have no idea. Like when I have done like I did a Kabul deployment back in a different airplane, and
yeah.
you know, I never told her about any of the stuff that was going on there, base attacks, insider attacks, car bombs, none of that. She never heard any of that stuff. But some people like tell their wives everything. They're like, oh baby, a mortar attack last night, or you know, we had
get
a
outta here.
hydraulics
Come
failure
on.
last night, or you know, I declared emergency for smoking fumes. Like, what are you doing? Are you
So I
introducing
had
drama in your life?
One of my first deployments, I had a navigator, Rod McLean. He was an
How old is that?
dude. This dude was
Ooh.
he was old when I was new, so that gives you an indication.
This
where
is
he
on the
was at.
C1. This is on the
This is on the
C130,
Her-
right?
Yeah, this is the C130. This dude. So this is back in the day when they gave a sat phone to the aircraft commander, right? So I had a sat phone, and I would go to him. Hey, Laddie, we call him Laddie because he was a McLean guy, right? There can only be one. You want to call your family or something? He's like, nah, it's fine. I'm like, every night, because I would give it to somebody to call, even though those are probably like $10,000 each call. But every night, I finally asked him, like, dude, why don't you want to call? You got a wife? Why don't you want to call? He's like, she doesn't even know I can get in contact with her. That's the last thing I want to do is to let her know. I'm like, what are you kidding me? You don't email each other? He's like, no. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So he proceeds to tell me. He proceeds to tell me a story about a guy that taught him that, which was some old Vietnam dude that was like, this guy marries a girl from Vietnam, brings her over to the States, and doesn't give her a phone, doesn't let her watch TV, doesn't let her do anything because he doesn't want her to get Americanized, right? But you can't stop the flood. So he comes back from a deployment once, or a trip. Not a deployment. This older guy, not McLean, comes back from a trip and says, and the wife says, I watch TV, and this soup in a can, is this possible? And the guy tells Rod, he told her, absolutely not, sweetheart. That's TV. You can't believe anything you see on TV. That's not true. That's not the way it goes down.
Oh.
And he immediately figured out how she was watching TV and corrected it. So fat. Now, okay, we're
Wow.
talking probably this dude.
That's like some
70s.
What is that,
70s, right?
Matt? What was it? Was this guy on Mad Men too? For God's sake,
Dude.
damn.
Well, I mean,
Mad
that's
Men.
about the era, though. I mean, you think about the timing. That's about the era, right?
Yeah, I mean those
Was
guys.
this guy from Dubai? Did he keep his wife in a burqa? Like, dude, that
He was
is
an American dude that
hardcore,
married a girl from Vietnam. He was in
Was his
Vietnam.
name Johnny Pullen?
By any chance? He's doing very well, by the way. I've talked.
I know he is. I know.
She
So,
was
yeah,
she
so
was
then-
certainly locked up in the basement when he
That's
went
what I
home
was.
after
So
that.
I asked Ladd. I was like, "Man, Laddie, did he just lock her in the basement when he left the house?" He's like, "No, he treated her great. They have a great relationship. They had, he just didn't want to get her Americanized.
She could read all the cookbooks you wanted.
Exactly. She would make great food. So then fast forward
Soup
to
in a
Rod
can.
McClain, soup in a can.
Best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Wait, is that possible?
That's a thing. You buy meat in the supermarket? I have to kill these cows.
Dude, oh man, I can only imagine the things that were going on in that household. So then
Jesus
Rod, I was like, "So
Christ.
you really don't want to call your wife?" He's like, "No, she doesn't even know I can contact her. I write her letters." What? You write her, and we're talking 2003, 4, 5, somewhere in there, 3 or 4. I said, "Wait a minute, you're writing her letters instead of like talking to her over the phone?" And he's
Well,
like,
remember, we only got like one phone call every 2 days or something on there with the cards. You remember that? But still,
"Yeah, it's a sad
what
phone.
the
We used to
fuck?
use that shit all the time.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
something.
yeah.
You know what though? There's something romantic about the letter writing.
It
thing.
almost kind of is. So
Nowadays it is.
In that, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I
don't know.
I
My
did
first
that.
deployed girlfriend, I was writing letters to, and then she wrote me
my-
one letter that was like, "Oh, by the way, I cheated on you."
Oh wow! So
On my
that took a turn. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Bringing up old wounds.
My first deployment after we had the first kiddo, I wrote once a week. I wrote her a letter, and Shannon saved them all.
Are you a romantic, Adam?
Oh yeah, come on, Brandon. You know.
Are
I'm
you a
romantic. Well,
romantic?
especially when it comes to my
Like that.
kids, like that's a
well,
different story.
your kids,
I
there's your
buy
wife,
into the
you're
Kobe
writing-
Bryant. She doesn't want a letter. That would take too long. She'd be like, just post something on Instagram and say, "Hey, honey," and that's good.
Snapchat.
She would prefer that.
TikTok
Prefer
it.
that. I can't do that. Dude,
Me
I've
too.
realized that my
Sure do.
age bracket just touches Instagram, and that's a little too much for me.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
deleting social media right now.
That
Smart.
being said, I
You can hear that? I'll mute.
I can't even do Instagram. Like I get on there and I'm like, about a second, and I'm like, I'm bored. I can't do this. And
I
then
love Instagram, but you know what's better? TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. Can't
Yeah.
stop.
TikTok.
yeah,
is
Tyler,
going
you're
on.
you're a 16-year-old though in a 40-year-old's body.
Yeah.
Maybe some truth to that too.
I am not trying it because you'll get hooked too.
No, I won't. I'm not. I can't. I have a small business that basically got its start completely on Facebook, and the only thing I do on Facebook is check my small business and anything Bobby Quinn posts. Everything else is, unless it's the very first thing that comes up on the feed, I don't see it, and then I'm on to the next thing.
Why
Question about that.
TikTok's so appealing because it's on to the next thing.
Oh yeah, well
immediately.
you're
It is
not
the next
appealing.
I was thinking about that, Adam. So TPN, the pilot network.
just kidding,
Let's pivot right
Tyler,
there
I
real
love
quick.
you. Yeah.
You guys were kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of carving a good niche in producing pilots from the civilian world. You had a pipeline, right, to get to the airlines. You kind of had tools for guys to use if they were coming from civilian or military, or I'm sorry, from military to get to aviation, civilian aviation or airlines potentially, right?
That's not how that wasn't the intent.
No, it wasn't the intent.
There was
That's
a-
kind
there
of
was a-
how.
There was a period where I think people, that's what they saw it as. So we just said, okay, if that's the best way we can help, then that's the
Yeah.
way we're going to best help. So
That's
that's,
killer.
yeah,
Go where the fans are. Right?
go where we can do the best work.
So now with all this, obviously that's been slowed down, if not coming to a screeching halt. How did you guys
Mhm.
pivot? What did you guys pivot? What did you? And this is more into like the opportunity hour thing, but
Yeah,
we can talk
no. So Matt Swee, who's my co-founder partner of TPN, we had many conversations even before COVID ever even came around, like 2 years prior. We said we were always looking at what can we do the best good for the group that we had, because we had about 2 years prior to COVID hitting, we probably had about almost 25,000 people just in the Facebook group. And I always had about 1,000 people sitting in the queue to join. And we came to this point where like, we're adding people, and the people that we're adding, the additional resources that they're providing it was very self-aggrandizing. Hey, look at me, I can help you, pay me money to get you to where you need to be. And we're like, we don't know who this person, boo, exactly. We don't know who this person is. So we started doing this thing where we would vet anybody who wanted to do that kind of stuff. And we hit on a couple of early successes. Charlie Venema, who does Check and Set, he's an amazing human being, first of all.
I know him
but he's
very
also
well.
yeah,
The company got hired. Yeah.
He's and the thing is we stole a big Dave Ramsey line where everything that we looked at was, if a company wants to get involved with TPN, they have to have the heart of a teacher. And this circles back to exactly what you're asking, Brandon. So what we did was we kept looking at, we go, well, you know what, instead of doing it going, okay, there's only so many pilots that can be let into the career field per year, that because of training flow, right? That's just the way that it's not like the training program is too long for it to be 100,000 people a year. Once the salaries go up, the pipeline doesn't get big. The pipeline grows slowly. And then by the time the pipeline gets full ramped up, COVID-19 comes in, goes the other way.
Every 10 years or something. That
It's the natural way of annihilation in the perfect point, Brandon. So so we started contemplating this a long time, probably way more than 2 years prior to COVID. And we kept saying to ourselves, what we really need to do is start looking at this from the day that you decide that you want to be a pilot, like legitimately, you actually sign up for a course, you start taking basic ground school for your PPL, to starting pilot training for the military or whatever. From that point until the day that you turn 65 at an airline where you're making a huge salary and everything in between, what can we do to give you the best group of individuals, companies, whoever wants to help you, either for pay, for free, for whatever. And that's where we kind of moved towards that goal.
Okay.
And we found like a niche with that, and a success model where we generate revenue off of that through advertising, and a very different model of, instead of clicks per or listens per or whatever, it's like a directed stream of people who you can get in contact with. And we found that has worked, and the companies that support us and we support them has worked. And the big thing that we thought, and Brandon, I was like, after COVID hit, I'm like, well, there goes that one. Like, spend 8 years on this, that's done. Just the opposite.
Well, I thought too. Yeah,
it's
just my career.
Complete opposite. The support from the sponsors who've been able to stick with us because they've lost marketing money and whatever, they have stuck with us by and large. And the thing is the groundswell of people who are now even more interested, because the uncertainty is so high. And what do people always want? And pilots want to control their future. They want to control the future of what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of out the window for a lot of guys. And they're asking more questions, and and the thing that I hope that this builds into, not only TPN, but externally, just on the analog piece, is that once you network and you really get to know the people within your career field, there's so much more besides being an entrepreneur. Not everybody's entrepreneurial, but there's ways to make $1 or support your family outside of aviation or within aviation, doing so many different things. And you don't have to be entrepreneurial.
Within aviation, there's so many different ways you can go.
So
you can use your expertise, even as a pilot.
Yes.
Use your expertise somewhere else, and they'll be happy to have you because of the type of person you are.
I think this thing is actually going to help guys and your core sponsors out quite a bit, because there's going to be a round 2 here shortly. Another hiring wave, and your core sponsors, I think, are going to be able to benefit again, and you guys will be that vessel to push people there again.
One of the coolest things that I've seen over the last 3 years in TPN that I never expected, it was the thing I least expected, was, and I'll use one of our sponsors, ForeFlight, for example, is ForeFlight had a very hard time getting in contact with individuals within the military to talk about the issues that they might have with piece of software, hardware, whatever. And for Flight, what they would do was they would send an email out to a .mil account. Well, we know where that can go. You change email addresses. They migrate for the 80,000th time in my career. They change your email address, and these guys would just flat out lose contact with them. Boom, it's gone forever. And they were like, this is my point of contact for Langley or my point of contact for Tyndall, and it's gone. What we experienced was they were able to make those contacts and keep them now forever on the personal side as well as the professional side. And that was something we never saw that coming. And now, mind you, these are all small, they're almost anecdotal in a way, but when you start piecing them all together and really multiplying it, you see that throughout. And I think one of the cool things that we want to keep doing is to continue this and point them to places like the Opportunity Hour and point them to things like Furlough Friday or whatever, just to get like kind of get out of their own head a little bit too and go, you know what? You may be down right now. This may be the end of your airline career. It might be. You might find something that really jazzes you. Like I said in the beginning of this, whether it gets in or not, I got to do my first paid voiceover, and I've done some pro bono stuff. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. And honestly, that was just through a little bit of networking, a little bit of elbow grease and effort. Yeah. And I think that everybody's got that, whether you're entrepreneurial or not. Like I said, you can always find a way to get paid by somebody else to do a job that not necessarily want to do.
Incidentally, did you get an agent for your voiceover work? I highly recommend it.
I one time I had an agency and I let that one slip through my fingers. I don't know, man.
Do you know how much voiceover work is down here? I actually did a voice. That was about a year and a half ago, but yeah, there's so much work. Well,
I thought maybe your Abercrombie modeling days would have played you into a voiceover.
Well,
Russ, there's so much you don't know yet.
My
I know
that I had back there is the one that hooked me up with some of the stuff I'm doing now. But
by the way, that's like eight consecutive Furlough Fridays where I brought up your Abercrombie modeling days. By the way,
Tyler, you need to have a picture.
I'm gonna kick you.
We're searching. No. We're searching Abercrombie Quarterly, 1998 to 1999. If anybody listening wants to get on the Googs and find this and submit it,
hive mind. Get the hive mind.
There's a handsome reward.
It was before the internet. You'll never find it.
And then they got never.
And then they got banned and outlawed by like 2000 something.
Those are some big words, Mr. Acosta. That's not how that works. The internet knows all.
The internet knows all, dude. The internet knows all.
The guy that was shooting at the time, I guess he revolutionized kind of like the modeling scene, made everything like kind of what you see now. People just do.
Well, he had to make you look good, so he had to revolutionize.
I broke cameras left and right. He Bruce Weber was his name, or is his name? Jesus.
Sounds hot.
Wait, you mean the head coach of Illinois basketball? Sorry, Tyler might get that joke.
I don't even know who that is.
Don't worry, Brandon. It's a sport. Basketball goes in the hoop.
That's not a sport. Oh, those are. Oh, yeah. So you guys play with balls. I grapple them.
Oh, I do that too. Too. I'm called a Renaissance man. You're just a one-track pony.
I'm really good at the one thing I do. Feel free to come out on the mat with me.
Go.
That got weird. Then again, you do.
I think I could hold my own with Brandon now.
I know you do. You know how many people ask the other guys.
Brandon,
this sounds like a perfect opportunity for a live podcast.
The three dudes I took on in Vegas. Ask them.
Okay, I gotta ask.
One of them was Omar. That doesn't count.
One of them is Omar. You're right.
Every time I see Brandon fight, he breaks somebody's bones.
So Brandon, I do have a question. Are you a black belt in jiu-jitsu?
Am I what?
Are you a black belt in jiu-jitsu?
I'm a black man in a belt in jiu-jitsu. Yes.
So I'm not asking. This isn't. Let's see who's.
I don't care.
Phallus is larger. I'm just curious. Doesn't matter. Did you watch the greatest fight of 2020, Tyson versus Roy Jones?
Oh God, it's so awful. I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights. I'm so glad I didn't watch it.
But I knew it was going to be that way. I knew it was going to be.
Yeah, I knew. That's why I didn't pay for it. That's why
I paid for it. I loved it. Snoop Dogg is the new. If Snoop Dogg could do every sporting event, he should do every sporting event.
Oh yeah,
I heard Snoop Dogg is the winner of that fight.
He was the
one. Yeah.
You should have heard him when he did the Nate.
WWE. That was WWE with Snoop Dogg doing the announcing.
When he did the Nate Robinson fight, that was before it. He was singing Bible hymns. It was amazing. He was like, "Oh Lord, have mercy." It was great. It was hilarious. I was laughing the whole time. It was a good pay-per-view. I'm not saying it was necessarily a good fight, but it was a great pay.
It was entertaining. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what they were going for.
I've gotten a lot worse pay-per-views. A lot.
The thing that's depressing is that these exhibition fights have become like the standard. So you got McGregor, Mayweather was like the biggest pay-per-view in the last couple of years. Now Mayweather's going to fight Logan Paul. He's going to fight Logan Paul.
I thought it was Pacquiao.
The guy who just knocked out Logan, knocked out Nate Robinson. He's going to fight him. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest boxers, if not the greatest boxer of all time. He's going to fight a guy who's got 3 fights.
He's dumbing down.
I'll pay for that one.
But you know why? It's money.
Watch Logan Paul.
Mayweather's always been about the money. And in his retirement, he's still making all that money.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole McGregor thing. He even admitted it after the fact. He's like, dude, we just did that for money. We got an enormous paycheck. He said he made more money from the McGregor fight than he did for any other pro fight. And that's saying something.
Okay.
That's saying something.
So on the money.
We all got to watch that fight in Vegas. Everybody here except for us.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
I was learning how to fly an Airbus. I was going like this.
Not me. Mayweather McGregor?
Yeah, you weren't in Vegas with us at Trey's? Yeah, you were. The Vegas shit show.
Oh, yeah, duh. That's right.
You were there.
Oh, I don't remember that entire weekend.
I watched it at Trey's. Pretending to study.
Oh, that was your opportunity to get on the mat with me, Adam. Where were you?
No, I did. Don't you remember? We were out in Trey's backyard. It was me, you, and Omar.
It wasn't memorable, I guess.
No, it wasn't. You had me down in 2 seconds flat, but I didn't know anything at that time. Now I know something.
You do.
2 years of training. Now he's
2 years of jujitsu.
No.
He's Henry Gracie now.
1 year of jujitsu, 9 months off. So 0 years of jujitsu.
Why aren't you training?
We're the quarantine.
Your wife won't let you. So
your
wife won't let you.
Family.
That's cute.
Yeah,
I train.
Who's got the skirt on?
I get my reps in the basement. That's what I do. I can't. No, I mean I can't roll right now.
You got to roll.
Believe me, I miss it more than I miss that more than anything. I didn't think I would miss it as much as I do.
Exactly. You know why? Because it's a stress reliever. It's something that
it's great.
You know what's great about it? And here's what I'll tell you.
Everything's great about it. It's
well, like on a psychological level, it's the only thing. Like when you're engaged in grappling, or I guess any mano a mano kind of thing, you can't think of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't think about the rent that's due. You can't think about your 2 kids. You can't think about the wife that's pissed, off at you for even going. All you can do is concentrate on this singular event, this singular, defense against this choke. And it's so sublime. I get out on this. Don't let me get started, but like all you can do is focus, and everything else gets quiet, and you're just focusing on not getting choked out.
It's beautiful.
It's a great thing.
Speaking of which,
think about when you could do that. There's no other place you can do that.
Dan Gable just got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, man.
You know what? I ask. I don't even want to talk. It's such a injustice that people don't know who this man is.
He's
Gable Grip. I know who he is, but that's just because I'm a UFC boxing nerd. But I mean, I know who he is.
Do you know who Gable Grip is?
He's the most. He's the most important American in grappling history.
No,
Jesus. That's
not I don't know. I've rolled exactly like 3 times in my life, so no, I don't know what it is.
But you're right, Adam. He is, I think, a symbol of who we are as American sports. Like, can't say America this, America. Everybody gets it's a trigger, I guess. But when you start talking American sports and what you did in history, that dude is and nobody knows about him.
No, I do.
A lot of people know about him. I mean, he's not unknown. UFC, wrestling, boxing has gotten extremely popular over the last 10 years. It's not like it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So I got a question for for the 3 of you. And this goes back to the Mayweather conversation, but it's about money. So we talk about, and every time I've been on here, we've all brought up entrepreneurship and making money outside of the current career fields that we are involved and engaged in. One of the things that I think a lot of us have had over the last 9 months is a chance to really sit back and think, like, what's the goal? And like, what's the number? I remember Fidelity, I think, had that, like, what's your number when you retire? They used to have that commercial. And I thought about it and I'm like, well, what is the number? Like, do I have to be, if I have $50 million, does that just impress people and that's what it's about? Or like, what am I going to get with 50 million that I couldn't get with 10? I mean, or 100 million or billions or whatever, you know? No, but I mean, like, what do I want? What do I need? And where's the happy medium here? Like, for instance, Russ, at our airline, I know, you know, guys, it's like, I know guys who would step over their own mother to pick up a premium trip, you know, and you're going like, what, but you're flying on your kid's birthday? Like,
I turned down a green slip today for this podcast. You're welcome.
Oh, thanks,
so,
man.
so with that said,
I didn't want to do it. It was inconvenient, but I mean, it
you could have
factored
just
into it. It's
stayed
like,
with
oh,
what
I
you
got to blow
said.
off this podcast. But
While we're
I
on this
mean-
topic, and I know we haven't given our numbers yet, but we had UTA this weekend, and we were talking to a FedEx FO
Oh yeah.
who made 50 grand last month, take home, in a high tech state.
fucking shoot.
They're talking about captains at FedEx this year. Some will make $1 million at FedEx this year.
Now, Delta had that with the
$1 million
350 as
captain.
new, but like they're gonna have like 100 captains make $1 million.
so
And yeah, when the sun is shining, you make hay, right? So good for them.
yeah,
Cash those checks, and that's what the guy, I'm not going to name names, but Tyler's talking about. I had lunch with him over beers. He's telling me this. He's like, you have no idea the kind of money they're throwing at us right now. I'm like, dude, just work your ass off. And he did. He worked like 28 days last month. And if you're making that kind of money, I mean, you're
well, and
fool
that's the
not to,
thing. Like,
you know?
what's the number compared to, is the number that, like, the, you know, that
If you're
time
making
value
6
money?
months pay in 1 month, yeah, you do it. I mean, that I would. I mean,
All right, that
yeah,
fair enough. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying one way is right or wrong or whatever.
sure.
I just, how much time do you want to, like, what's, you know, where's your value at?
Adam, I'm with you. I got into this gig. I left active duty. I got into the airline gig because I don't want to work that much. I value my time off, and I turned down green slips all the time. The whole purpose of me being a pilot is so I can work less, not make more for you know the amount of days I am working.
Mhm.
So, but I don't have kids. My hobbies are inexpensive. You know, I can still shack away all the money I want to do. My goal is to retire at 58. I don't want to work till
that's-
65 and
you-
shack up
you
all the
wanna-
money. You know,
You want to work that late? Ugh.
I know, right? Yeah, I know.
54 is my
um,
number. That's
good for you.
that's my
Yeah.
number, 54.
If I can get to a point where I can retire even that early, I will absolutely.
Sure.
But I'm not at 65 till die and drop dead 3 years later. And you know, not to get too personal, but like my father retired relatively early. I thought he did. He retired at like 62. Most people would say in America that's pretty early. And he had a decent couple years retirement, and then he got sick, and now his retirement is like a living hell. And he can't spend any of his money, and he can't do it. And so like I see that, and I'm like, I'm spending my money now.
Yeah.
Like I go on pre-COVID, go on vacations, buy the things I want to do the things I want to do, because
Sure.
I may not be able to do that when I'm 60, you know, like, and I'm in a place where I can do that because I don't have kids. I don't have to be responsible for somebody else's life, somebody else's happiness, you know. But even if you are, you can put that money away and be like, this is for you and this is for me. And you really have to prioritize yourself. I fly so many trips with guys who are 64 years old who are working 28 days a month, every green slip they can, every white slip they can, just burning the candle at both ends. Like, oh, I'm making up for losing my pension. I'm making up for losing this. I'm like,
Making up
what is
what?
this magic number you have? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, don't you just want to be happy? Like, you're not happy right now. I can tell you right now, you know? I don't
See,
know.
I'm trying to build my life around not having a job that I look forward to retiring from.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
a
I
great way
agree.
to look at it. Like, I could not agree more with what Tyler just said.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's times where it's means to an end, and you do have to, when you do have responsibilities and you do have to provide for a family or whatever, you got to kind of install gates where you can go, okay, I hit this gate, now it's time to, I can move on. But I think the thing that I personally do is I try to set myself up to make that gate, so when the time comes, I can go, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want.
Well, and the good
I'm
thing
done with
about
this. I
our
don't wanna do it.
careers is that I've flown with plenty of guys as well who are in their 60s, you know, 61, 62, 63. They're like, I could afford to retire right now, but I like going to work. It's
Yep.
easy, and I'm making extra cash.
Sure.
And
That's a good place to
I'll
be.
buy another boat. I'll buy another car. Or
Yeah.
I'll go on another expensive vacation. You know, they're like, I don't hate coming to work. So, I mean, that's kind of where I want to be. I want to have the option to retire at 58, 60, 55, whatever it is. But if I'm still happy at work, I'm like, hey, I'll go on this international trip and, make an X amount of money and, go to Oktoberfest or, do whatever I want to do. And if I don't want to, drop the trip,
Fair enough. Brandon,
Yeah.
what about you? Are you a more is good? Greed is good? Are you
It's not a greed thing for me. It's something different. And I don't know if you guys, I don't know how many the three of you guys knew somebody in your family owned land and stuff like that. Is that
Oh yeah.
so? Someone in your family owned land?
Yeah, my
Russ?
dad was an early investor. I'm not making this up. Disneyland.
Oh,
Yeah, he held on to some property outside of Orlando, Disney World. Or which one is which?
Orlando.
Whatever.
Disney World.
Orlando. Yeah, yeah. So he bought like 10 acres back in the 60s when he just got back from Vietnam, like 1969. It was worthless, and
Yeah.
he just held on to it, and held on to it, and held on to it, and held on to it. And people are like, "We want it, we want it." We're like,
Now.
nope, 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 nope. He sold it right when he retired. I'm not going to tell you how much money he made for it, but
Come on.
Yeah.
Is
it was enough so that he,
six, seven figures?
when somebody finally made an offer on it, he was like, "I'm retiring tomorrow." We'll put it that way.
okay?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
enough then. That's the
Yeah.
way it should be done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he probably bought it for
Yeah.
like 10 grand.
Legitimately, he bought it for like, I think 3-digit number.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, because they were all
Yeah.
orange groves. There was nothing out there. Nobody
Yeah, there
cared
was
about any
nothing.
of that land.
There was nothing.
It was
There was
amazing.
nothing. Nothing.
So,
Do you
so
know
my thing is
what
like,
was the reason for him buying it back then? Do you know?
that's a good
There was
question.
rumors about development,
They
it
didn't
was
know what it
just
was
all
going to be
rumors.
though.
and it was nothing.
He's a
He got
speculator.
talked- And that's
He's a
not how he
speculator.
was. He was like a normal, like regular investor, but a guy that he trusted was like, dude, Disney just built California. They're coming out here. Everybody knows it. Buy this land.
Oh, so it
It's
was
not
kind
going to be
of
what the park is, but it's going to be where our hotel is in 20 years.
sure. It's going to be
Let's do it.
something.
Yeah.
Something's going to develop it. You
something.
should see it
Yeah.
now. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
driven around that area or been
No,
down
I know
there.
exactly what's there's now. There's a huge resort
Dude,
on the
really?
land that he owned. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
And
Wait,
if he held
Disney's
on
got
it
a
for another,
resort?
since
Disney has
Well,
a
no.
resort in Orlando.
the land that he owned is like a resort hotel property, not attached to Disney,
Not
but like one of
attached to
those ones
Disney,
where it's like
sure.
it's like you come here and we'll shuttle you there,
Sure,
and we have
sure.
a spa and a pool for like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
That's a
if he
cool
held on it
story.
for another, if he held on it for another 10 years, like I would be like telling you guys to eat shit, and I'd be peeling out my Bentley and taking my Gulfstream out. Like if he held on it for a little bit longer, then even more ridiculous. But
Can you
yeah, he had to do
imagine?
what he had to do.
Nope.
Jeez.
I can't. That's a lot of money from a company that has more money than.
Dude,
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
buying up everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mine's a little more in depth than that. It's probably even for a different show, but it has for me. It has to do with generational wealth. So catching up to that whole idea of 40 acres and a mule. So I got some catching up to do.
Fair.
You want to make enough money so that you can enslave some white people? Is that what you're saying? Because
Yeah,
if
definitely.
you make enough, I'm going to be Tyler's slave if Pro Flight takes off. We've already
Yeah.
had this conversation. Like,
Mhm.
if he writes a big enough check, I'm going to be there every day licking toilet seats with my tongue.
Clearly.
You don't do that already?
No,
Man,
And
you
that's,
don't know how
that's
to-
exactly that's exactly what we want
you
to
can't
do.
You're
write
not
those kind of
living.
checks.
You're not
You can't
living.
write those kind of checks.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna when that happens, I'm going to invest in that very act of you licking toilets and make sure that happens.
Can you TikTok that, Tyler? Is that
It
TikTokable?
will TikToked, and Russ will allow us to go viral.
So here's the thing. What's
There's enough
that
money
number?
involved
What's-
in it.
what's
Dude,
that
I'm the Johnny
number?
Knoxville. I will do
Yeah,
it.
what is the number
What
to lick a
is
dirty
that
toilet,
number?
Russ?
Once.
Once in an airplane, in a
Six figures?
private jet.
With
'cause we're
with
gonna be
like
going
with
to
like
Vegas.
poop speckles on it.
Oh, stop! Now you just
No,
don't
No,
listen to him.
There's a number.
A run of
Yeah,
the
no,
mill.
I mean, because what's
It
the worst
looks
you can get from
clean.
poop?
It looks
Who's
clean. It
pooping on
looks
it? Is
clean.
it like a refugee from Burundi? Or
no,
is it like
it looks clean.
Unknown.
It looks
Unknown?
clean, but
Unknown.
it hasn't been cleaned in. It's the day after the cleaners came.
I've got a
No,
lot of
Brandon
vaccines.
is so
I
mad
mean, I'm not
right
going to get
now.
that sick. What can you really get me?
Yeah.
I'll get E. coli. I'll get food poisoning for a few days. I'll have diarrhea. A 6-figure number. I can handle one lick. We can make that happen.
A 6-figure number?
Yeah, for one lick. Now you're talking like a regular gig. We're gonna need like an 8-figure number
no, we
to
gotta
like
put
do
you-
it
we
on
have
the
to- we'll-
regular.
We'll have to put
Yeah.
you on staff. You'll have to be a
Yeah.
salary employee.
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
want like Dan Blazarian money here to be like one of his girls walking around in a bikini. But I'm just the guy who licks toilets.
But dude, you know what? It's videos like that. It's videos like that that goes viral that will make you a superstar.
Yeah, 2 girls, 1 cup, 1 Russ, 1.
I'm pretty sure the girls in Two Girls One Cup are still poor as shit. I don't think they're rolling around in fucking
That was before.
Maseratis and punching old ladies in the face or
Was
anything.
that before things went viral? I think the story went
That
viral.
one was viral.
It went
That was
viral.
That
Was that
viral. Everyone
online?
I've ever met my
Yeah.
entire life has seen that video.
That's true. In our age group, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
But Brandon, your explanation for that was spot on. Because I mean, I agree. Generational wealth for you is different
Yeah,
than me, but I
it
came
is.
from. I mean, like both sides of my family. There's not money. It's
Sure.
not like there's no money there. But like,
Did any of them own land?
mm-mm.
Nothing. Down the line, down your
No, they
lineage.
came over. One side. I think they're both pre World War One, or no, they're right around World War One. I think they're post World War One,
Okay.
pre World War Two, and then give or take. And when they came over, they
During the
were
Depression.
they were. I mean, my dad's side was poor,
Yeah.
poor,
Yeah.
and my mom's side, I think they were poor farmer types, and then my grandfather joined the military. So, for what it's worth, I remember this little hat right here. That's his from when he was in the
Cool.
VFW. And the thing that he did, so it's kind of flying related. So he when he enlisted for World War II, they had a sign up sheet, right? And the sign up sheet was to be a pilot. And he wrote his name on the list because he had seen airplanes. He thought it was cool. And he was like, yeah, I want to do that. So he just wrote his name on a sheet.
I could do that.
Yeah, I can do that. So, and they went through and they gave him like a base physical and they're like, yep, you're qualified for all these jobs. You're qualified to do this. And so they go down the list of the pilot sheet. And when they hit the requirement that they needed, they just drew a red line and they go, everybody above it gets it and everybody below it doesn't. And he was below the red line. And they're like, so you're going infantry, 32nd Division, Red Arrow, which was, they fought over in the Pacific. And he did in the state of Wisconsin, anything that's 32 is all the highways. There's the red arrow on either side. So it's kind of nice.
Okay.
Like even to this day, I still, kind of get to see that. And so but that's my only really link to the military side. And he was the first of kind of his family to do that. And he kind of turned it around a little bit.
That's cool.
And then, I mean, I just grew up, as a like a lower middle class white kid who had a dad who was a brewery worker and a stay at home mom. And
like, look at that. Look at the impression that your grandfather had on you then, though, and just by doing things like that. And that's what it's about, I think. So you say a number. I know I'm getting out all kind of. I can't just say a number, right? I got to be fucking complicated, but because it's complicated for me, I think it's more than just that number. Yeah, I can give you a number so long as that number represents generational wealth, where my grandkids are better off for me having lived.
So then, I guess the follow on to that then is, then do you, not necessarily a number, but will you know when it's time to go, maybe I'm not hustling for money anymore, I'm hustling for work, I'm not hustling for this, like I'm hustling
for legacy.
I'm hustling for legacy. Where, like, for me, I've told Shannon many times where I said there's one day where I would love to be able to walk into our little village and donate $50,000 to the park and just go, I want the park to look nicer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Here's 50 grand. I don't care. Like, I don't care if it's tax deductible. I don't care. I want the park by our house to look beautiful. And I want other kids to enjoy like the most kick-ass playground that they've ever seen in their life, and all that kind of stuff. And whatever I have to donate, like, to me, that's whatever that number is. And I think for me, it's a little smaller because I don't need a yacht. I don't necessarily want to.
I'll tell you guys a cool story real quick, short one.
Yeah.
Steve Young, 49er Super Bowl quarterback, went to my high school. He came back. All he did was upgrade our gym. We had an okay gym.
See,
it was
that's
a public school.
awesome.
He came back when we went. I was on swim team, and we had gym weight sessions like 3 times a week. but to my junior and senior year, he upgraded the gym, went from like an okay gym to like a D1 college gym. Like unbelievable. Overnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just because he was like, don't care, make it happen.
And Brandon mentioned building legacy. You know, that local, well, you might not be able to throw 50 grand at it right now. You can still raise money for that park.
Yep.
And throw your name on that shit if that's what you want, if you want your name on it. But like
that, I don't care.
Especially now during talk about opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, opportunity, like want change, you can do stuff like the local community involved. Everybody throw in $100, $200, whatever. Like that type of stuff. Social media enables that type of change.
Well, not only that too, especially the four of us and then Adam, your platform, you can gain a lot of traction by being an aviator. Not that it's not that you're a an A-lister or anything like that, but in your town where you grew up in high school, you might just be one of those dudes that when they look at you, like, man, you're an aviator, you fly planes. Like that holds a certain amount of respect, that holds a certain amount of attention, I should say. And you can garner a lot of attention with that and use that to raise money. Use that platform to raise money for your hometown, and that creates content, that creates all kinds of things, and that can help, again, TPN do whatever else it wants you, or you personally do whatever hell else you want to do. So there's a little bit of celebrity in there.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. So I'm doing a job right now for the Guard where I'm running a mission set for us, and I have to call TACC regularly, and I've called down there to the floor, and one guy's like, Uhan, he goes, are you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the TPN guy. And he goes, oh no shit, man. He's like, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity today. And I'm like, not really. I said, you're and I've got a big head. I'm an egoist, but at heart, but I like,
no, literally you have a big head.
Yeah. Well, that on top of it too.
What's your hat size?
As big as Tyler's.
About 7 3/4. I'm not small. I'm not
5/8, 7 5/8 over here.
Right? Centimeter, millimeters.
I'm not Bruce Bochy big. But the thing that is cool is we have gotten to do some of that stuff. Like cool. Pre-flight camps is one of our groups that we sponsor, and it's a camp for little girls to get involved with STEM and STEAM, actually, so little arts too, but also it's like a week-long ground school camp for girls 11 through 14 to kind of expose them to aviation. It's all female aviators, that kind of stuff. It's really cool. And when we did that the first time, one of the guys who donated a full scholarship for the girls was a pilot in my pilot training class. And I saw his name on the list. He never reached out to me, never told me he did it, anything like that. And he goes, yeah, I listened to your podcast and I heard it. And I thought, hey, I got 3 daughters and I would like them to, even if we don't get to fly airplanes for professional purposes at some point. He goes, he goes, are you going to really give up aviation completely when it's time to get out of it? And I said, I've thought about that. And I go, I went back every time I fly, I go, man, I do like this. And maybe I would like to teach my kids how to fly and go out and do it. And I'm like, it's a really cool hobby. If you can afford it, it ain't cheap. And these girls who get to do it are not girls from the likes of which we can provide now, where we could provide that education for them.
Sure.
And I thought, man, if I can do that just a little bit, just by helping somebody else get that exposure, I'm doing something. I mean, it's nothing comparatively speaking to the big world out there, but man, that it does make you feel like you're doing something.
It actually is. I mean, don't downplay what it is, because you change the trajectory. Think about that for a second. And and we all know here that I've run camps and all that, and I follow some of the folks that we've helped out, and you change the trajectory of a generation. If you think about that, like you just changed that young lady's life, and then because of that, every life that young lady produces or touches, maybe it may not be her own kids, it may be somebody that she now mentors, changes the trajectory, and it's exponential at that point. So in essence, you just change a little bit of the world. Yeah, you just change your world, and you don't think your world's that big, but where that spiders out and splinters out, I should say, forget it. I mean, it's and I found that out probably 2 or 3 years doing the stuff that we were doing, and I'm like, man, it's almost scary. because then it becomes
Well, it's kind of like what Kilo
responsibility.
Tango Aviation's doing.
What's that?
Like Kilo Tango Aviation.
Yeah, exactly. So
You know, they're
yeah,
changing lives
KT,
too.
we had Ken on a podcast last week or a week before, something like that. Yeah,
last week.
And yeah, young guy trying to go to the airlines, couldn't, pivoted to doing his programs for educating youth and all that, and that was one of his main things. And he'll be running a camp for us I guess whenever COVID is over, I guess he'll be running one of the camps. And we offered him something that we're trying to do, Tyler and I. So I mean, the guy's smart, he's young, he's wants to get things done, and he's got a great program. We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, so don't, granted, I know you're an egoist, but also, at least if you're gonna have an ego in something like this. Like, be proud of this and what you've done as far as helping those young ladies out. And all the other stuff, yeah, we're gonna bust your balls about it, but this is definitely something that you should take
pride. So going back to what you're saying about generational wealth, you set yourself up there. Like, will you ever get to a point where you're saying, I've made a significant amount of money, I've set myself up to have my kids, maybe even my grandkids in a good spot.
Yeah.
But will you ever get to a point where you're not enjoying it anymore and you're like, that's enough? And you'll just, even though it may not be to the point where you imagined, where it is something you can hand down like a legacy, but you're over it. Like, when does the push pull gonna get there for you? Like,
if I'm in a position where I'm getting tired of what I'm doing, I did something wrong way early on, and I made the wrong turn somewhere, which is okay. We do that, and I don't mean wrong turn in meaning like.
See, I get tired of everything quickly, like,
and I pivot, dude. If you notice, I mean, I do all kind of stuff.
And, you definitely are a pivoter,
and
that's a good thing.
And I have to do that because you're exactly right. I don't want to get bored in something and be like, man, this is a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I can't say there's a number or I don't want to be
that's
that
not
guy,
what I meant. But like, you don't want to be the guy who's like, I got to keep doing this for my grandkids or whatever.
I won't be that guy.
No, but there's a feeling, right, Brandon? That's what you're getting at. There's more of a feeling like, now I'm where I feel that this is the right. I've gotten to where I want to be.
Yeah, and if you set up, for every grandkid, you set up 3-4 acres, or for every kid, you make sure that they have some sort of an endowment or access to some sort of chest of money during certain stages in their life, things like that. That's, I think,
you got to be careful you don't create trust fund babies, because I grew up with a lot of those kids.
Absolutely.
I grew up in a rich town.
True statement.
I grew up in a really rich town full of those trust fund babies, and I was not one of them. And I saw those kids, and it was just, man, you are not.
Those guys are more disadvantaged than people that came from nothing, because
all those kids have drug problems before
they don't know how to work and hustle.
They never had a job in their life. They're just waiting around for their parents to die. I mean, it was awful.
They should never know about it. They should
not even trust fund babies. I mean, just look at airline kids, man. I mean, there's a lot of them out there that you're like, really? Like, that's what you think life is? You're going, man, you are in for a sore awakening when this.
I went to Hawaii 4 times last year. Like, what's the big deal?
When this gravy train runs out, there's going to be something else that you've got to do after that, and we talk about it all the time. I said, I don't care what my daughter decides or daughters decide that they want to do, but if they're not a contributing member to society, that's going to be problematic. Like, if they're doing something that's truly noble, good on them.
Talk to me when they're 16.
I know that there's a difference. I get it.
Dude,
I get it.
No, really, you're gonna want to talk to me when they're 16.
But someday they're gonna be in their 20s, and they're actually gonna be doing something, and they're gonna realize that they were a little different back then.
Well, I'll let you know when that happens, because apparently it's gonna happen to me before it happens to you. So
it better.
Well, I mean, as math goes.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're doing
science.
We started with math, and we're wrapping up with math. I want to thank you again for having me on, boys, and feel free to ask for more participation if you like. The way I'm looking at life right now is, the aviation world is a little topsy-turvy, but enjoy it, man, because we all picked a roller coaster for a career, and who doesn't like roller coasters? Shit, enjoy it. Thanks again, Tyler, man. I appreciate you asking me on, and I always have fun talking with you guys, because I can't see you right now, and hopefully it'll be sooner, but it's probably going to be later.
Yeah.
So, Russ, good seeing you, man.
Always a pleasure, buddy. And this has been a blast. I always love doing this. They've been asking me to do it last couple of weeks. I've been working my tail off, but this is
Good for
about as close as I get to going out boozing with the buddies these days. Nobody can go out anymore, you know. So I'm happy to do it. Always good times, man. So glad to be here.
Zoom's making the pandemic a little bit more tolerable for sure.
Yeah,
Cheers.
it's still Zoom fatigue is setting in. That's for sure.
For sure.
Whenever Russ, if you ever got a layover in Milwaukee, just let me know. Just hit me up, and you are welcome to the Uhan bar, which is open 24/7, 365.
Be careful what you're asking for there, Uhan. I'm gonna drink you dry and have your family disown you.
Impossible. Tyler knows that is impossible.
Well, unfortunately, 320 is not going there right now. It's
I know
7-1s, I think. Yeah,
I know.
right? So,
Believe me, I
well,
know.
yeah.
I'm tracking.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Awesome,
Thanks,
fellas.
man.
Have a good night,
Until
guys.
next
See
time.
ya.
Until next time,
Absolutely.
I'm out.
See you, fellas.
See ya.